Welcome to the Soulfire podcast, where every day we talk about real life, real shit, real raw. On this show, you can expect us to dive deep into topics like marriage, parenting, money, business, feeling like you want to give up, fighting for yourself, just straight soul healing. This podcast is all about life. Hey there, it's Power Coach Alicia here, your source of fun, funny, exciting, entertaining, and educational life coaching, transformational speaking, and soul healing. We're talking about setting your soul on fire. I specialize in helping women put themselves first without feeling guilty, getting out of their own way, and finding themselves again. No fluff, no hand-holding, no bullshit here, just love, light, and peace as we journey through this thing called life. So you know what is really crazy? That we have been taught, and it's all fucking wrong. Since I don't even know how little we're taught that it's about right and wrong, agreeing or disagreeing, right? That's right. That's wrong. I agree with you. Oh, I disagree with you. And here's the deal. If you think it's right, you're doing your best to get the other person to agree that of your perspective. If you think it's wrong, you're doing your best to get the other person to agree or admit that they were wrong, right? If it is agreeing, oh, I agree with you, done, right? Well, if I disagree with you, it's a battle until we get on the same page of agreement. I don't know when this was instilled in us, but it is 100% the wrong way to communicate and connect. Because at the end of the day, and I have been preaching this and talking about this with every single person who will listen to me, agreeing and disagreeing, right or wrong, is moot. Even though when you're in conversation and there is some sort of conflict, that is the main focus and the main point, it's wrong. 100% wrong. Because listen, someone can be wrong to you, and instead of hammering them over the head with why they're wrong to you and getting them to come to your side, you could go to their side and understand where they're coming from, where their mindset is, what's on their mind, why they did what they did, right? And then you can go, I mean, now that you've explained that, it makes a lot more sense. It doesn't mean that I agree, or it doesn't mean that I think you're right, but it helps me understand you a lot more, and I appreciate that. Wow. How much better is that opposed to, well, no, I mean, see right there, you're wrong because of da-da-da and da-da-da and da-da-da and da-da-da. That's why da-da-da, da-da-da, blah, blah, blah. You see, it's like hype, it's up, it's escalation to fucking flipping out and this knockdown, drag out argument, right? When I say knockdown, drag out, I just mean yelling at each other, not seeing eye to eye, somebody walking away, shutting down, whatever it is for you and your relationships, right? If it's, well, you know, I don't agree with you. So I don't agree with you puts the other person in a position to prove to you their stance, to prove to you what they're saying, to prove to you what they mean. Or if you go, tell me a little bit more about why you feel duh. Tell me a little bit more about why you view this way. Tell me a little bit more about where that mindset comes from with that. They start explaining, they start talking, you continue to ask more questions. Guess what you're doing? You're about understanding and connection. Instead of being about arguing your side. And what happens is there's portions of things that they say where you go, I can see that. You know what? That makes sense. I hear you on that. I feel you on that. I've never really thought of it like that before. At no point are you agreeing or disagreeing. At no point are you telling them that they're right or wrong. It's just a conversation of understanding. You can say all of those things and still disagree. You can say all of those things and still think they're wrong. You see, we go through life in our relationships and we're either, you know, the type of person like I am who conflict doesn't bother me if it is necessary for us to get on the same page. So we have a little bit of turbulence until we get on that same page. That doesn't bother me. Or you have the other side, which is like, oh, I hate conflict. Conflict bothers me so bad. I avoid it at all costs. So this person, there's no depth to the relationship with people like that. They're never going to tell you what's really going on, how they actually really feel. And so you are completely and utterly unable to build a deep bond and connection with people like that. People will tell you that, oh, no, that's not true. You can avoid conflict and still have depth. Are you sure? Because conflict creates depth when utilized in a space of understanding, when utilized in a space of connection, utilized in a space of peace, love, and protection. The conflict is an issue that's being brought to the surface, and the communication that happens from that conflict is either going to deepen, strengthen, and connect that relationship, or it's going to cause disconnection and issues that create distance in that relationship. Most conflict creates distance because the two people are not focused on understanding and connection. They're focused on right, wrong, agree or disagree. A long time ago, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago now, could have been last year. I'm not sure. I feel like the last year has kind of blurred. But Daniel came up with this idea of, in communication, we first need to come from a perspective of peace, love, and protection. And I felt like this was a great idea that he had come up with. That, first and foremost, peace, love, and protection of our marriage and our connection is the most important. Now, the challenge with this idea is that he hadn't grown to the level to honor that in our marriage. He hadn't grown to the level to come from that perspective. And so it was like you came up with this beautiful idea, but you don't have the ability to live it. So what would happen was I loved the idea of peace, love, and protection. So I jumped on it immediately. I've been doing, on my soul journey and personal development and soul growth for a long time. What is it? 17 years? Yeah, 17 years. I don't know. Whatever year The Secret came out, so it has to be longer. It has to be longer than that. Because I still had a day job when The Secret came out. Oh my God. No, so it was somewhere right around there. I don't know. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know. 2000 something. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? So I have been on this journey since clear back then. Daniel's dabbed his toe in the water and then ran away because it was too hard. Dabbed his toe in the water. Oh my God, so much work. Dabbed his toe in the water. Oh my gosh, this is so much easier for you. Sort of energy and attitude, which is something that we'll definitely talk about on, soul journey later on. But I want to share that he had this beautiful idea of peace, love, and protection for the marriage, but he wasn't ready to actually live the idea. So we've spent the last year almost, maybe 8, 9 months, really like digging into peace, love, and protection, creating a safe space for each other and understanding and connection. Peace, love, protection, safe space for each other, understanding and connection. That's what you need for any relationship that's of depth. Acquaintances, we're not talking about that. People you see every once in a while, we're not talking about that. We're talking about your in-depth bonds, whatever they look like, whether they're relatives or friends or lovers, right? Children, right? It doesn't matter. All these things apply. And the more you dive into peace, love, and protection, understanding peace, love, and protection, creating that safe space from both sides, understanding and connection, the deeper the relationship goes, the stronger the connection for that bond. Every single fucking time. Conflict, issues, disagreements, misunderstandings, those all create a space for you to step into with that person to deepen the peace, love, protection, safe space, understanding, and connection. What happens though is if you step into an unsafe space where the two people do not have the same intentions and the same goals of peace, love, and protection, safe space, understanding, and connection, it can be turbulent. It can be another cog in the fuck this shit wheel, right? And it can cause a lot more fucking frustration than what was there before. And so the question you have to ask yourself is, do I avoid this and pretend like it doesn't exist just to keep the peace and keep this fucking relationship that I can't have this depth to because one or both of us avoid conflict at all costs? Or am I ready to grow through this and use this as a growth point and go, you know what? Fuck this. I want that depth. I want that connection. I want to have that peace, love, and protection, that safe space, that understanding in my relationships. And I want to show up and I want to do this work and I want to be there with these people. This is why, as you become adults, you don't want a fuck ton of friends. You just need those close ones because the work is the work. All right. You got to put it in all of these different relationships. So this quadrant, I don't know. It's actually peace, love, protection, safe space, understanding, and connection is 6 things. So it's not a quad, or I don't even know what the fuck that would be. Is that a sex something? Ooh, that would be great if it was, right? I guess if it was a lover relationship, but if it's like with your kid, probably not. I need to think of something that I want to call these, 6 things. But I want to show you what this looks like in each of the relationships so I can help you understand, okay? So in my marriage, these 6 things, the peace, love, and protection, safe space, understanding, and connection, looks like when there is conflict, keeping that peace, love, and protection in mind. We are having this conversation to deepen our peace with each other. Remembering that we love each other to the depths of our soul. And that no matter how this conversation goes, we will protect what we have at all costs. That means we're not seeing eye to eye and we're doing that cyclic, destructive bullshit. We're gonna end it. It's just not worth it. This means that when we get to this end of this conversation, do we both feel complete? We're going to talk about that, We're going to talk about that later on. I mean, we've got a lot of things. I need to go back through these episodes and make notes of all the things we said we're going to talk about this season, because that's one of them. Do we feel complete? If we don't feel complete, why don't we feel complete? What was missed in that conversation, And the safe space is really how you feel safe. If somebody is folding their arms and making fucking faces and acting a fool physically, maybe that makes you feel unsafe. It infuriates me. It's like, why can't you just be open enough for us to talk about this without having all of that added to it? That to me is not a safe space, right? Another way that I don't feel safe is as soon as I get done expressing something deep in my soul that really matters to me, if he instantly starts talking, infuriates me. I escalate. And when I say instantly starts talking, I mean he'll start talking, and when he talks, he doesn't validate. He usually goes straight to defensiveness, and we end up in the cyclic destruction, right? It pisses me off. I'm like, I literally just told you something that was so emotionally in depth and connected, and it was such amazing information for us to connect and understand each other at a deeper level. And you were so head driven and focused on what you wanted to say, you fucking blew past me being vulnerable and connecting with you. Nope, not a safe space. Fuck this. I'm out, right? So there's that. Or there's slowing down and validating, saying, I hear you saying, I understand how you could feel like that. I understand how, where you're coming from when you say that. Thank you for sharing that from your perspective. It makes sense to me. Now I hear you saying this. I was wondering about this part of it, right? Getting that depth deeper and having that conversation. So see, what happens though is in relationships, people don't, that's not the focus, right? That's not the point. And so that's what that looks like though with my marriage. So in parent-child relationship with my oldest Ronan, peace, love, and protection looks a little different. It's peace in knowing you understand where I'm coming from, and I understand where you're coming from. I actually use the marriage example from my perspective, right? Because really, Daniel's perspective is Daniel's perspective. So me speaking on his perspective isn't my place. So let me actually do that in the parent relationship as well. Because one thing that's really important is me not speaking for them and what it looks like for them. Okay. I have an idea what peace, love, and protection looks like for Daniel, but his will be different than mine, even if it's just slightly. Same thing with Ronan. His will be different from mine, even if it's just slightly. So maybe one of these times I will bring them onto the podcast and we can talk about, what it is from their perspective, because that would be cool. Um, and I don't know that Stratton will ever come on the podcast and give his perspective on it, because he is not the in touch with his emotions sort of child, but we'll talk about that in a second as well. So with Ronan, it would look like, let's see, we're on love. So him knowing and me showing him that I love him and telling him that I love him at the end of that conversation, and usually something positive. So one thing I've noticed with him is I need to end with something positive about him, even though I made it very abundantly clear what the issue was and what I will and will not stand for. Okay. And then in protection of our relationship, I do everything in my power with him to not say things that are destructive to him emotionally because I'm angry. So if I'm extra emotionally charged, I will take a step back and not really say much. Now, because I'm me and this is my child and he's been my child for 17 years, he will sometimes take the fact that I'm not blowing up as a fact that I don't care. So I am rewriting that as a protection of our relationship and showing him that just because someone isn't freaking the fuck out, that doesn't mean they don't care. So I know that for the protection of my relationship with him, I need to rewrite that caring doesn't look like being fucking pissed and losing your shit. Caring looks a lot, there's a lot of different levels to caring. So that's the peace, love, and protection with Ronan. And then peace, love, and protection with Stratton. I'm still very, the foundation isn't solid there, right? There isn't a lot of peace because he is very disrespectful. I'm always telling him that I love him. I just know I'm missing something there. The protection of our relationship is not there because his disrespect infuriates me, right? I've used that word a lot in this episode, right? And so these are things that I'm working through myself. These things that I say, oh, that infuriates me. That is something that is part of my soul journey and I'm growing through. I never pretend to be perfect and have it all figured out. I just show up and let you know what's on my mind and, what I'm working through and what I've learned and how I'm feeling. So keep that in mind. And thank you for the safe space that I have here to be completely open and honest with you, right? So peace, love, and protection with Stratton is rocky. He is closed down emotionally. It's just how he processes and does things. And that bothers me greatly because my personality, it creates a disconnect. My personality is communication and having those conversations. Stratton's like very straightforward. I said this, I said that, I mean this, I mean that. Why are we still fucking talking? It's been, 2 minutes and I'm sick of this. He's very much so how I was when I was younger. And so, I take that into consideration and, we have some work to do there. And so when I'm, in this discussion, this podcast, I realized, all right, that's where my work is really cut out. So we talked about what a safe space looks like in my marriage, just a little bit. I feel like a safe space with Ronan, what I need from him is calmness and respect and like his ego checked at the door. So my relationship with him, if I'm going to feel safe enough to meet him where he's at and be understanding and build that connection, those are the things that I need. He does that very well most of the time, right? As his mom, I have an idea of what I could do to create a safe space for him. But I'm realizing in this podcast episode, I haven't sat down and asked him that. And I'm going to. I'm going to ask him for all three. I'm going to ask Daniel his, I've heard Daniel's before, but I want to hear it again. I haven't ever heard Ronan's because we've never talked about it. I've been utilizing this in my life with my people, but I haven't been really like teaching it to them and having it be a whole thing. And now I'm ready to step into that. So it's going to be a beautiful thing. So I don't know what a safe space looks like for Ronan fully. I have a good idea. Him and I are very soul connected. Stratton, I have no fucking clue. I don't know what a safe space looks like for him. I don't know how to create it for him. I don't know any of that. And so, again, place that I need to go to work, right? At Stratton's age, I'm not sure what a safe space looks like. For me, with him, he's 14 years old, and so I'm like, close to the same of Ronan's, but Ronan has a little different personality, so I would say if he is being open and communicating his feelings, that makes me feel safe. If he is engaging in affection, like giving me loves, and just communicating with me in the day. Hi, Mom. How are you doing? How's your day? Just having a fucking conversation to me. That creates safe space for our relationship, right? It's a very foundational. So I would definitely say respect, opening up and sharing with me, even if it's not at a deep level, just so that I, have that information and just engaging with me day in and day out. So that's what safe space looks like for me with him. Like, and this probably sounds a little crazy. Like, wait, you've got to have a safe space with your kids. Like, that's not their job. It's not? Are we not in an exchangeable relationship? Are we not exchanging energy? Are we not exchanging ideas? Are we not exchanging connection? Are we not building something that's in depth? Are we not creating a bond for a fucking lifetime? As people have this whole idea that when you have a baby that it's a bond for a lifetime automatically because they came out of your body. That's fucking bullshit. There are plenty of mothers who've had babies that have no fucking connection with them and then didn't do the work in order to do that. You would say, well, that's a deadbeat mom. Is it? Or is it just not having the knowledge of what it's going to take to build that relationship? A lot of times what happens with parents is they let go because they don't understand. They let go because they're fed up. They let go because of the power struggle. They let go because they feel like they have no other choice. And the truth is, it's agree or disagree, right or wrong. It's a fight and it's a battle all the fucking time. There's no peace, love, and protection. There's no safe space for either, parent, child involved. There is no understanding. There is no connection. Therefore, wit's end, I don't know what else to do. So I got to let it go. So yes, there are things that a child can do to create a safe space for you. And I think, that hits at a certain age. Let's be real. I don't know what the fuck we're going to do with a 5-year-old, right? I don't know what we're doing with a 4, 3, 2, newborn. You know what I mean? Like, there are levels of expectation for age. However, a safe space for a 5-year-old could be in how they act with you is them not hitting you, right? Not being disrespectful and not being sneaky. That's a safe space for you to show up for them, to understand them, where they're coming from, and build that connection. Of course, you have to teach them those things, right? But there are standards and boundaries that you can set that are your markers, right? Most parents don't do it, and it's a whole thing. So my point is, don't be thinking this doesn't apply to children. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, this wouldn't apply to my mom. That doesn't make any sense. This wouldn't apply to my daughter. This wouldn't apply to my son. This wouldn't apply to my best friend. This wouldn't apply to my sister. Yes, it would. It would apply to every single person that you have a deep soul bond with, or a lifetime bond with, or one that you want to have. Because maybe you don't have a lifetime bond with them, but you want to build it. Like Stratton's a great example of that. We don't have a connection that's a lifetime bond just because I'm his mom. And I see that clearly, and it eats me a fucking life. I know that if we don't put in the work, we won't be close. We won't have, well, we'll have a lifetime bond. We won't have any depth to that bond. He's my fucking kid. That's extremely important to me. And I am not naive enough to believe that just because he's my kid, we're going to have the depth of that bond. We won't. We both have got to put in some work for the depth of that bond to be there. So quit walking around in your life and thinking, oh, they're my kid. They're always going to be there. They're the one thing that's always going to be there. Are they? Is that just automatic that you have that kind of a relationship with your kid in your head? Because it's not true. Oh, because this man married you or this woman married you, that it's just automatic? You don't ever believe that to be true about somebody you're building a life with. But you have that kind of nonchalant attitude with a kid because they're a part of you? Look at parent-child relationships all over this world, and there's your fucking answer. It's not true. So this episode is so about you leaning into peace, love, protection, safe space, understanding, and connection. I want you to write it down. I want you to take it into your life. I want you to define what those are for you and find out, just in your internal household for now, what that means for each of those people that are at an intellectual frequency that they can answer that question. The one thing I will say is do not underestimate the brilliance of fucking children. I bet you could ask a 5-year-old in a different way what makes them feel happy or the happiest, and they will tell you that's what they mean by safe space at that age. If you ask a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old, what would make you feel safe to come talk to me, to communicate with me, and to feel like I was being of support to you? They will answer the fucking question. That's another thing adults do a lot, is underestimate what children are capable of. And so what happens is adults will almost make their kids dumber than what they are, and that their ability and their capacity is way less than what you think it is. I've always raised my children that they are as smart as I am, or smarter. I've always raised them that way. And how I communicate with them and what I say and what I expect and what I do. And because of that, they operate that way. They always have. Yeah, it creates a little challenge when their mental capacity and the way that they operate is higher than a lot of their peers. But I'd rather that be the challenge than me thinking that my kid is a hell of a lot less able to function at an emotional level that I think they should. It's there, right? Just ask. Just ask it in a way for the age that they are for them to answer the question. It's that simple. So take that away. Peace, love, protection. What does it mean to you for your relationships? And it will mean something a little different for each relationship you have, right? What does a safe space look like for you in each of those relationships that matter the most to you? What does understanding look like and connection look like? I'm sharing it with you. Connection is an auto result of understanding. If you let go of right or wrong, agree or disagree, your entire fucking life will change. It literally changed my life on a dime, and that's why this is a podcast episode today. Because I was like, why is this always a fucking battle? Why? What the hell do I need to do to get out of this cycle of bullshit? And then the next conflict, the next disagreement that you might likely be avoiding, my answer was in it. It's like, fucking A. The battle is because we're fighting for the other one to see our point of view, to agree with what we're saying, that right-wrong side. And we're never going to get anywhere. Because as Tauruses, we think we're always right. Did you hear that? Think we're always right. And we're really good at arguing. So that agree, disagree, it's fine. If you disagree, let's go. Let me prove to you why you should agree with me. We'll do it until we're like exhausted. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. So remember that. It isn't about agreeing or disagreeing. It isn't about right or wrong. It's about peace, love, and protection. Safe space, understanding, and connection. Say yes to yourself more than you say yes to other people. Give yourself some grace. And remember, it's always about progress, not perfection. We'll see you next. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Soul Fire podcast. You being here means the world to me, and I'm grateful for the time that you've dedicated to be here. And by consistently showing up, I firmly believe that you will transform your life. I'm so grateful that you've subscribed and you continue to share with others, spreading my message far and wide, because together we can reach my mission of transforming the lives of 1 million souls on their healing journey. Now, to provide you even more support on your soul healing journey and address any questions you may have, I would like to invite you to join our soul healing community. Simply visit community.thesoulhealingzone.com. Again, that's community.thesoulhealingzone.com, where you can connect with like-minded women, share your top takeaways, discuss what resonated with your soul, and express your absolute favorite moments from this episode. I can't wait to read them. I'm so freaking excited to create more empowering episodes and continue supporting you. I am sending you so much love, light, and peace as we journey through this thing called life.